Since 1911, the best racing drivers in the world have all come to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with one goal in mind: to cross the finish line first and be the next driver to have their face on the Borg-Warner trophy. However, even if you don't win, a stage as grand as the Indy 500 can make a name for anyone that seizes the opportunity to shine on it. Many have won the race, but some have made names for themselves even without winning. As the 2023 edition of the race looms on the horizon, today's video finally gave me the inspiration to cover who I believe is one of the Indy 500's brightest stars in the past 10 years, who for some reason has recently disappeared from the public eye. A man that did what I said earlier, seized the opportunity from the first time of asking, and put in stellar drives at the Yard of Bricks. My name is Intern, I talk wheel, and this is the Indy 500's most forgotten star. People of the internet, this is Carlos Munoz. To understand why I think he's the forgotten star of the Indy 500, we will have to step into the proverbial time machine and set it to 10 years past, the 2013 Indy 500. After a 5th place finish with Andretti Autosport in Indy Lights, Munoz was re-signed for another full season with a catch. He would get to make his IndyCar debut at that year's Indy 500. Driving the number 26, Carlos would take full advantage of the opportunity, qualifying on the front row in his very first Indy 500 and setting a 4-lap average of just over 228 miles an hour. At just 21 years old, the young Colombian would be one of 3 drivers on the front row to lead the field to green come race day. One would expect his lack of experience to show in the race, but quite the opposite happened. Munoz showed racecraft far beyond his years, leading 12 laps and staying with the leaders all race long. With 7 laps to go, Munoz ran 3rd when a caution came out for Graham Rahal spinning off of turn 2 and hitting the inside wall. When the race restarted, there would only be 3 laps left. Munoz was in 3rd with a chance to win the biggest race of the world on his debut. As the green flag waved, Munoz would move to the outside and make a bold pass on Ryan Hunter-Reay as Tony Kanaan would take the lead by going down the inside. Munoz sat 2nd with his sights set on passing Kanaan when Dario Franchitti hit the wall, bringing out a caution that would eventually end the race. Kanaan would score his first ever Indy 500 victory, while our protagonist Munoz would take 2nd on his IndyCar debut. Despite his amazing first race, Munoz was still disappointed with his 2nd place finish, saddened that he never got the chance to race Kanaan for the win. However, he did put the world on notice as a force to be reckoned with around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 2014 came around and Munoz was now full-time in IndyCar with Andretti Autosport, this time driving the number 34. Munoz would qualify 7th this time around, right at the front just like last year. He ran inside the top 10 for the entire race, working his way up to 4th where he had a front row seat to the titanic battle between Ryan Hunter-Reay and Helio Castroneves. As his teammate Hunter-Reay took the flag, Munoz sat behind in 4th, near enough to see the battle, but not close enough to fight for the win. For 2015, Munoz would remain at Andretti, this time going back to the number 26 that he used on his debut. He qualified 11th for the race. Munoz was in for another quiet race as he kept his head down and bagged a 5th place finish, crossing the line as the highest finishing Honda driver that year and getting his 3rd straight top 5 at Indy. At least that's what those at home thought happened in the moment. In reality, the race between Juan Pablo Montoya and Will Power was so intense that the cameras and commentators missed the 26 car pulling into the pits with less than 5 laps to go as he didn't have enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. What would have been a 3rd straight top 5 finish ended up being a 20th place finish when the checkered flag waved. What ended as a disappointing day would easily be gotten over as Munoz would score his first ever IndyCar victory at the very next race that season in Detroit. 2016 came around and Munoz was back in the 26 trying for the 4th time to win the Indy 500. And what better stage to do it on than the 100th anniversary of the race. Munoz had a fast car the entire month of May, qualifying on row 2 in 5th place for the race and showing speed in carb day as well by putting himself second fastest on the speed charts. Munoz's teammate Ryan Hunter-Reay and Townsend Bell would assert themselves as the cars to beat in the first half of the race, but that would change after a caution came out for a crash just past halfway. Bell and Hunter-Reay collided while exiting pit road, trapping them both a lap down and out of contention for the win. Following another caution, most of the field pit on lap 165 with intentions of going to the end, while a few stayed out. With less than 20 laps to go, Munoz from third pulled the pin and banged in fast lap after fast lap, blasting by Kanaan for second with 15 laps to go. Second wasn't enough and Munoz would chase down race leader Joseph Newgarden, laying waste to him down the front stretch with only 10 laps left. Fuel became a critical factor as those that pit on lap 165 were coming down for a quick splash of fuel as they didn't have enough to get to the end. Coming to 5 laps to go, both Newgarden and Kanaan had to pit, leaving Munoz in the lead all by himself. Munoz and his crew quickly realized that they didn't have enough to get to the end and pit with 5 laps to go as well. Munoz came out the pits in 4th and began charging hard to make up the lost ground. He made his way all the way to P2 with only 2 laps to go, and only 1 car remained ahead of him, his teammate Alexander Rossi, who tried to stretch the fuel to the end by going at almost a snail's pace. Munoz was way faster than Rossi, but the only problem is he was half a lap behind. Rossi would eventually stretch that fuel, running out on the exit of turn 4 and coasting over the line to win the Indy 500 as Munoz had to once again settle for second. Rossi had accomplished what Munoz failed to do in 2013 and won the Indy 500 as a rookie. In post-race, all the frustration of being so close yet so far in the past few years had finally erupted in Carlos emotionally, as he burst into tears and had to be consoled by his crew following another failed attempt to win the Indy 500. Munoz did say in a post-race interview, however, that if anything was clear to him after that finish, it was that one day he would win the Indy 500. 2017 came around and Munoz would contest the race again, but this time without Andretti Autosport. Carlos signed with AJ Foyt Racing for the 2017 season. Despite the move being an obvious downgrade in equipment, Munoz would once again overachieve at the Yard of Bricks. Starting 24th in what was easily his lowest starting spot in the race, Carlos kept his head down, and amid the chaos, the crashes and the engine blowouts around him, he carried the car home in 10th place, his 4th top 10 in 5 Indy 500s. Without a drive for 2018, Carlos and Andretti reunited for a 1-race deal for that year's Indy 500, and Munoz would drive the number 29 car for the team. After another disappointing qualifying saw him roll off the line in 21st, he proved, as he did time and time again, that he can work wonders around this track no matter what he drives or where he starts. Carlos climbed through the field from 21st, and when the checkered flag waved, he bagged a 7th place finish, his 5th top 10 in 6 Indy 500s. Carlos would make only 2 more IndyCar starts that year, filling in for the injured Robert Wickens after his Pocono crash. None of us knew it at the time, but 2018 would be Carlos's last attempt at the Indy 500 to date, which now brings one of my hidden agendas for making this video. Where is he? I don't know. Do you? The man hasn't posted on his Instagram since May of 2020, and despite being one of the best drivers to race around Indy, he hasn't been called up by any team since 2018 to even try and attempt the race. According to this guy on Twitter, he's been up to other projects outside of racing, but personally, I just want to see him back. Based on this tweet I found from 2019, he clearly wants to be back, and hopefully one day he'll get to come back, wherever in the world he is, and give it another go. I'll fund the seat if I have to. He has an average finish of 7.5 around Indy, and he's only 31 too. He's younger than Joseph Newgarden. If Castroneves can win the race at 46 years old, surely Munoz's prime isn't past him. If you're an IndyCar owner with a seat, look no further than one of the best drivers to race at Indy in years. If you're a sponsor, give him money. The way he runs around here, there's no way your brand won't be on camera anyways. So like, what are you waiting for? In conclusion, with an Indy 500 resume like his, it's genuinely insane how he hasn't been back since 2018. Nothing from the media or anyone on the paddock about a potential return. With the low profile he's taken since 2020, no wonder he's become forgotten amongst fans. But hopefully this video can undo that a little, and shine a light on the Indy 500 career that rivals only a few on the grid. Hopefully one day, our forgotten star can find himself back in the spotlight and win the race that's eluded him for a decade. My name is Intern, I talk wheel, and thanks for watching.